So this is a part 2 part. So I screwed up when I told you that for this top part that you need to pull this plastic part away from the other part, because this originally goes onto the body, which the body kind of looks like that. That is the complete one half of the body, the inside of the body. I mean, that piece of fabric thing sits over that like a sock. This part sits on top of that with the speaker in it. You know what I mean? Sits in there. And I told you wrongly when I told you that that this part had to come away from that part. You know what I mean? These two parts stay together. And basically, the speaker thing sits in there. It sits in there like that, and it's got like this little ring thing that sits in there. Like that sits in there like that, right? You sort of just wedge that ring thing out, put your finger in there, and this just peels away. That just peels off pretty much. Then you then this thing, the light thing is sitting in there, and then you just get a screwdriver and wedge that out. It's not glued in, it's just sitting in there. Then undo those screws, and now you're in a place where you can start disassembling. And obviously at this point, once these have come off, and the sock thing with the fabric on it will come off, you know. So just going from the start, just quickly, first things first, you pull this off, you know, this thing that looks like that, you know what I mean? You know, especially, of course, it's not ripped and broken like that. You somehow, I don't even know how you're gonna do it, but somehow this thing comes off. Like you might have to wedge it and get a little bit violent with it. I guess trying not to be as violent as I have. And it's got these clips that are clipping like teeth into the body. You know what I mean? And somehow you're gonna have to just wedge those over the top of those top speaker things. That's the first thing to come off. Once you got that off, then you move to these things that are sitting, the speakers that are sitting on either end. Pull the ring off, pull the, you know, pull that ring off, pull that off, pull the speaker off, which is just lightly sitting in there, like it just kind of peels off. Pull the light out that sits in there, you know, this thing that sits in that thing, pull that out, then undo the screws, you know, that are in there. Undo those screws, then take those off. So then you'll be just left with this body without nothing on the ends, and then at that point the piece with the fabric should slide off, and then go down and undo all the screws, you know, in the body. Then pull it apart, which is, it's got a lining of glue that runs down it. You can actually see the glue there. It's got a lining of glue that runs down it. Pull the body apart, and at that point you'll have full access. So yeah, yes, thank you very much. I think you do have to undo the speakers as well, the speaker screws, but at that point you'll be kind of sweet, you know, you'll be into it. I mean, it won't have to look like my one looked if you just follow those tips. I just have not seen any videos on how to pull one of these apart, so just a quick rundown of how that all goes. And I wish you well, and may God be with you. Godspeed. I think probably the most difficult thing you're gonna of this whole project would probably be taking the very first thing off. This thing. Taking that thing off and wedging it over those speakers might be the most difficult thing. I don't know how on earth. See, it looks like it's got little clips. Like if it'll focus, it's got little clips that, you know, one there, one on the left side, another one in the middle, and another one on the other side. And it's got the other clips that clip in to the body. You know, you can see there. That'll be your toughest mission. Once you get that off, it'll all come apart pretty easy. You know, because then it's just those screws on the top on either side with the speakers that are on the top and the bottom, you know. of the cylinder, the top and the bottom of the cylinder. Take those off. That comes off. The fat piece of fabric thing should slide off at that point because it's a one piece thing. Then undo those screws of the body, undo the screws of the speaker. Then the whole thing comes apart, especially, but it is glued together, and the whole thing will just come apart. Then you have access. Oh well, Godspeed.